welcome to this edition of R&B Reviews. I'm Rob.
I'm Brendan.
And this time we're going to be reviewing Clint Eastwood's latest film, Gran Torino. In this movie, Eastwood plays a Korean veteran named Walt Kowalski. He is a racist Korean veteran who has very little patience with his own family as well as the Asian family next door. But one day, the teenage boy, Tao, who lives next door with his family, is forced to try and steal Kowalski's Gran Torino car by his cousin, but is unfortunately caught. So then, as punishment by his family, Tao is forced to help Walt with the chores, even though Walt himself really doesn't want him to. But soon, over time, the two develop a great friendship, but that might be broken by Tao's gang member cousin as he tries to win Tao back. The movie was interesting because it felt like an independent production, and it was very concentrated. Thankfully there was no music from like today's groups being in the background, it being a distraction.
It wasn't that kind of movie at all. I hear what you're saying, where it has more of an independent feel, but it also has the feel of this almost big Hollywood production, because you get Clint Eastwood in there, and every shot where Clint's in there, he's just completely eating up the whole scenery, and your eyes are always on him pretty much, because he's an icon, he's an iconic figure. And I thought sort of having him play this smaller character in a much sort of more condensed film, I think allowed for him to spread his acting wings a lot wider for his final film.
Yeah, and the actor was pretty good. Eastwood, is still intimidating, and his character doesn't beat around the bush. If he'll make his racist comments if necessary, and if someone's being stupid, he'll point that out right away. His character is very blunt. He's not afraid to say what he thinks, and I think that was a very interesting thing to add with Eastwood's character.
Well, the Clint Eastwood's character, he's a very honest character, and Clint Eastwood was the perfect guy to play him. And just like, he really reminded me of almost like Dirty Harry with his growl and just what he did with his voice and whatnot. He almost sounded like Christian Bale's Batman or something like that.
Yeah.
But Clint Eastwood did a phenomenal job playing a character I think a lot of people can relate to, as someone they've known or someone who was in their family, a grandparent or an uncle like that. Just this character is very relatable when you see the movie. Once you pick up on his attitude, how he's very traditional, and he's very like American traditional, and then you see how his neighbors around him from the Asian community, they're traditional to their culture, while he disrespects them for not being traditional to his. I thought it was a very interesting movie to see how the two different cultures collided.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because you have Clint Eastwood's character's culture, who is really sort of like from the 50s and whatnot, very traditional, and then you have these Asian culture, which is very different, and he knows nothing about it, and it sort of catches him by surprise. And I thought, his character being mean and racist, well, that's just who the guy was and who all his friends were. I mean, it wasn't that he was a hate monger or anything, that was just his attitude, I thought.
Yeah. One thing about seeing the movie now, when we went to see this movie in a theater, everyone was laughing at, Clint's making racist jokes, comments.
It was a very funny movie, to its credit.
Yeah, but and all that. Now, even though I enjoyed, I'm sure you enjoyed laughing with the audience as well. I'm a little concerned whether some people will actually be rightly offended by some of these by some of the comments he made and get taken out of the picture.
I think by once the time the credits start rolling, I think the overall message of the movie should have already sunk in, and that's what the character is. I mean, you can't always have characters that are good and clean in movies. You got to have sort of characters who are a little morally dirty and whatnot. And Clint Eastwood, I think he plays a very, I want to say, not realistic, but almost like a very Clint Eastwood version of this kind of guy. I mean, and it's just like the whole Clint Eastwood's performance in the movie, you see sort of change where in the beginning you're sympathetic towards him just because he's Clint Eastwood. You're already there because it's Clint. But you sort of get invested in it as he sort of sees how maybe his racist comments aren't so right. Mm-hmm. But it's not a movie about racism so much as it was to me about like friendship and about, sort of Clint Eastwood's character discovering different sides to himself. Mm-hmm. The biggest credit to the movie is before the final act of the movie kicks in, is that whole time I was sitting there, I had no idea how this movie was going to end. I mean, you had no idea what Clint Eastwood's character was thinking and what plan he was coming up with. I mean, you see him sort of preparing, he's preparing for something, but the ending, not to give it away or anything, but it's just such a perfect ending, and you really don't know, you don't see it coming, you don't expect the ending to go the way it does.
Yeah.
And it's so perfect, and I think Clint Eastwood as an actor that I do like this being his last project, because acting-wise, he was great in it, and this is one of my favorite movies of him acting. Because his character is so interesting and so, I think, relatable to people who have, you know, older members in their family who are like that, and I thought Clint Eastwood just totally drove that sort of older man storyline home. But, you know, it's very interesting seeing a movie where the main character in the movie is in his 70s, and you're completely rooting for him. I mean, a lot of movies are about, you know, a lot of movies are like these teenage characters running around. You see these kids from like WB TV shows being the main characters. So it's very nice to see a movie giving its main character, you know, and a much older character this sort of attention. And I like it that Clint Eastwood didn't throw any other really Hollywood actors in there. He's really the only recognizable face outside of, I want to say, the guy who played the barber, who I recognize from a few other roles. But outside of that, the cast is pretty much unknown.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. You know, it helps you believe that these are real characters. Like, if a big superstar personality was cast in one of these roles, it would be hard to, unless they really, really pulled off the performance, it would be very hard to say, wait a minute, it's this actor trying to play this role, and I'm having a hard time trying to get into that.
That's why it was very easy just to make it like a Clint Eastwood vehicle. And that's what it completely was. It's Clint's movie, and it's... And the way the previews sell it is you're not sure exactly what the movie's about, if it's going to be Clint Eastwood just shooting random thugs or something like that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't
off my lawn.
Yeah, he's very in your face, his character, but I wasn't sure what to expect. Is this going to be Dirty Harry again? I mean, what sort of movie are we getting? And you sort of do see strokes of Dirty Harry in there, I want to say it with his pronunciation and just how the character is, but yeah. I definitely thought Clint... He deserves an Oscar nomination, I think, for this film. His acting, I think you just get it out of respect. I mean, he did a phenomenal job. He made you completely care for him. And by the end of the movie, you're completely invested in this old grumpy guy, as well as the characters of Tao and Sue. And just pretty much all the people who surround Clint Eastwood's character. You're all very connected to him. So when the final act finally takes place, you're just emotionally already there, rooting for these characters. The only thing I didn't like about this movie was its story structure. I thought it was very familiar and whatnot, where it sort of introduces a plot line with the gang thugs, then it sort of goes away from that plot line. It gives you a chance to do something in movies I wish more movies did, but then again I kind of don't like it because I noticed it this much, but where it just gives you time to like sort of hang out and see who the characters are.
Yeah. And
you really sort of find out their attitudes and personalities much better, so that when they kick the plot back in, you're invested on a whole different level.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you. I think that the main plot was, you know, seeing Walt and Tao kind of warm up to each other. I think the gang member plot was just something added in to, you know, add more to it. But I think that worked on that level. Okay, so how would you rate this movie? Would you say see it in theaters, rent it, wait till it comes out on DVD, or just snuff it?
I say if you are a Clint Eastwood fan, a fan of movies, a fan of just good storytelling, I say you go see this in theaters and you see Clint Eastwood on the big-ass movie screen, because it's completely worth it, and it's an experience. I'm glad so many people are going out and seeing this movie.
Yeah, I agree. I also say to see it in theaters, so catch it while you can. I think it's a great movie, and I think it's worth it. And if this does turn out to be Clint Eastwood's last film, at least he went out on a good note. So thank you for watching R&B Reviews, and we'll see you later.